Hi, I am back again taking a look at the Call of Matthew. And there are a bunch of things in this study. It's kind of, it goes on to a number of topics. So real quick, I did, there's a little bit of information in here on the verb tense of follow me when Jesus tells Matthew to follow him. It's more of an ongoing verb as opposed to a one-time action. So it was, Jesus was calling him to a life change. Also tax collectors. Very often in the New Testament, we see tax collectors grouped in with sinners. And when you take a look at who the tax collectors were, they were able to take more than what was required by the king, but the king sort of endorsed this behavior that they could just take whatever they needed to live on and were allowed to take as much as they could get. In particular, the people who were taking taxes for duties and fees when people were traveling through an area, importing or exporting or just carrying through. So it does say that Matthew was at the duty station there, and so we may be able to assume that he was one of those who took the taxes there, which would mean people who were traveling from out of town would have there's no stated amount of money that needs to be taken, so they don't know what's normal, and they just basically have to pay whatever the tax collectors tell them they have to pay. So there's that. And then I went over some kind of historical validation of the New Testament, because Matthew's gospel really does focus on bringing credibility and validity of Jesus's messiahship to the Jewish people. So he uses a lot of scripture, Old Testament scripture, and draws it in and says, look, this was foretold. This is right here in our scriptures. And here he is in person. Let me tell you all about what happened. So I went into some detail about New Testament scripture and why it's reliable and how it's been validated through non-Christian writings as well as Christian writings. And although there are a number of non-Christian authors historians who wrote and included some references to New Testament, to things that happened in the New Testament, there are far more who are Christians. And I just posed a question in here, kind of, does it make Jesus more or less credible that most of the people who encountered him or knew about him believed in him? So the people who were writing about him, more of them believed in him than didn't. And does it make it more or less of an argument to you that so many people were compelled to come to think that he was really sent by God and was who he says he was? So anyway, take a look at this one. There, like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I hope you like it, and I'll see you next time.